The 2024 European Audio Engineering Society Convention in Madrid was a landmark event that brought together some of the most prominent figures in audio engineering. Sonimus' longtime collaborator and esteemed speaker, Ezequiel Morfi, delivered an insightful talk about mastering in which he showcased SonicQ as the perfect tool for stereo audio mastering in the box. Ezequiel Morfi is a renowned producer and sound engineer. He operates Titano Studios, a self-built studios in Buenos Aires, Argentina. With a bachelor degree in music composition and music technology, Ezequiel boasts over 2,000 commercial releases, collaborating with prominent Latin American artists like Alberto Spinetta and Charly García. As a member of the Audio Engineering Society, he has held significant positions, including the chair of the Student Delegate Assembly and vice chair of the Education Committee. Ezequiel is also a respected teacher and keynote speaker presenting worldwide. We wanted to take the opportunity to talk with him about his career, music, technology, and his collaboration with Sonimus. You seem to have a long relationship with Sonimus, with our product. How did your involvement with Sonimus started?
We've been working together, if that's the right term. Well, yeah, I mean, we're beta testers and have been for long ago. For longer than 10 years now. I think my first plugin by Sonimus was, of course, the SonicQ Free. I used to teach a lot. Well, I still do, but at the time I was doing a number of classes and courses and stuff, and my goal was always to present the subjects and the themes and do the practical work using only freeware plugins, because it was always too easy to do that on cracked plugins or the plugins that I had. But then what is the person going to use when he or she gets back home? So I always thought doing this with good freeware plugins was cool, because it helps spread the word. And by researching and searching, through the web, I came across Sonimus. We'd only had just a few plugins at the time, and SonicQ Free was one of them, and the only one that was free, so I became a very big user. And I probably must have sent them an email or something, because I always like to reach out for a cool developer. The Gearspace, the now called Gearspace forum was available at the time. Not much else, like there was no social media. And from what I remember, I got in touch with them and I invited them to one of my presentations for the AES talking about mastering with plugins. And that's how I got to know the brand and the people behind it. And soon enough, they were doing something else, a new plugin, and they asked me if I would be interested in trying it out before it came out, which is such a compliment, and such a cool spot to put your finger on when you're an engineer and you like stuff and somebody is asking your opinion about it, and what would you change about it? Come on. So many things that I could think of, so many cool things that I like to say, this is cool, this is great. And so that's how it began, and it hasn't stopped. And we've beta tested and tried out, 10 plugins now. Different kinds of ones that I like most, ones that I don't use as often, but my fellow colleagues in the studio find useful for their tasks. So that's cool. That's really awesome.
Awesome. And which Sonimus plugin do you use the most in your production, mixes, or mastering?
I have to mention SonicQ. Again, now that has evolved from the free version onto the pro version, onto the SonicQ 2 version, which I think really breaks the mold. It's always sound terrific. It's always sound amazing, right on the spot. There are times when I do feel like, it's not fighting, but, getting my way around a plugin for a couple of moments until I get it sounding right. Like I want to mess up a little bit with the configuration of a plugin to get a cool sound out of it. And there are times when I really want the result right on the spot, and that's the case for Sonic Q always, especially on for mixing too, for mixing as well. And the low shelf and the high shelf band are incredible. So I know exactly what I'm gonna get. It's simple, yet it's quite open. I mean, the possibilities that you can have, it's flexible. And the 2 version with the modular capacities and the fact that you can like remove a module or bypass it hits the spot, because I could have as many or as few bands as I want. So I'm super happy about that. I guess it's easy to say it's my favorite plugin. And when they launched the AEQ, the API based EQ under the same structure, I enjoyed it as much in terms of the modular part, but I still think the sound of the Sonic Q, which is kind of custom from Sonimus, is amazing. And I also like everybody else, I like using something that it's my kind of secret weapon. It's not a secret weapon,
No.
but we all enjoyed using a certain plugin that we're aware of is not as popular, and you kind of take pride. You take pride of it, and I'm thinking about the sweet tone filter, which is really old, which doesn't mean it sounds bad. It doesn't sound bad at all. It still hasn't been upgraded. I think it will be soon, but today I still have to, bring up on screen these old GUI from 15 years ago. But the way it sounds and the fact that it's again an original design by Sonimus is great. And I'm a big user of tilt filters, so the more I have, to a certain extent, the more fun, and the high cut and low cut filters are cool too. So I'm kind of happy that I have this plugin that it's not as well known. I hope now it is, and that it sounds awesome, and that it's super simple.
Cool. And could you describe how Sonimus plugins have influenced your workflow, if in any way? I mean, you mentioned already Sonic Q2 with the modularity. Is there any other plugin that has done that kind of effect on you, or that has affected the way you process your audio in a way?
Yeah, I like to. It's not like I like complex things, but in terms of a workflow, I do want to be picky and specific. If you don't want to be, Sonimus offers a number of plugins which are channel strips and stuff. That's super cool, and I always mention that or show them around to clients. But in my own, and they might be fit for them, but in my own personal terms and the way I like using stuff at the studio, I like to go the other way around and specifically put something that I want exactly where I want it. And the fact that Sonimus is so dedicated to doing saturation and distortion units, well, not distortion, saturation, and EQs and compressors, really makes it easier for me. So my mixing template, I mean, to think about a bigger scenario than just a mastering chain, will have an EQ and a compressor, and the fact that I can choose between 3 or 4 EQs that Sonimus can provide me with, and a number of compressors as well, makes it more flexible. So I tend to have, I don't want to say this and sound bad in terms of being prejudicial and thinking drums are Sonic Q and SSL 4K, because they don't have to be. But the template for mixing drums goes that way. So I have to think twice to change it. When it comes for vocals, in terms of my template for vocals, I'd rather have the EQ from the Burnley and have the Tuco compressor and not the SSL based. So the fact that I can have so many cool and flexible and good sounding EQs and compressors, but at the same time be able to pick this one or this other one, this task or this other task is it's really cool, and that's how it's influenced our workflow in Titanium.
Do you have a favorite Sonimus plugin?
Yes, and you know the answer. It's Sonic U2,
Amazing.
definitely.
Thank you.
But my colleagues disagree. I mean, not disagree. There's 5 of us working at Titanium, and I think they pretty much all have a different one. So that speaks good things of Sonimus, really.
Amazing.